You know, every single world-changing product, whether it's the phone in your hand or the software you use every day, it all started as just an idea. But how does an idea actually make that huge leap from a concept to a global launch? Well, let's dive in and find out.
So imagine this. You've had that light bulb moment, that flash of genius. You've come up with an incredible invention, a new piece of tech, something that you know could genuinely change the game. The potential feels absolutely limitless, right? But here's the cold, hard truth. An idea, even a brilliant one, even a working prototype, on its own, it doesn't make a dime. It's just potential. All of that value is locked up and it's waiting for you to find the key. So let's break down that journey. It all starts with this first big step, getting out of the lab and onto the launch pad. And that bridge between your invention and its actual impact in the world, it has a name: commercialization. Really, it's the whole shebang, the entire process of taking a new technology and turning it into something that actually creates value, both for your customers and hopefully for you. Okay, you have your invention. It works. Now what? Well, you've just arrived at what we call the commercialization crossroads. You've got some big choices to make. This here is basically a map of that journey. It all kicks off with research and development, of course, but look what happens right after. You hit this critical decision point, and notice it's not a single highway to success. There are a bunch of different paths you can take. And generally, those paths fall into 5 main categories, and each one comes with its own level of risk and its own potential reward. You could sell the idea outright, you could license it, you could assign the rights, you could start a new venture inside your current organization, or you could go it alone. Now, 5 options might seem kind of overwhelming, right? But don't worry, they really boil down to one simple question: how involved do you actually want to be? You can really think of it as 2 core approaches. Are you going to be hands-off or are you going to be hands-on? With the hands-off approach, you basically let an established company with all the resources take your idea and run with it. But with the hands-on approach, you're the one in the driver's seat. You become the entrepreneur and you build a brand new business from the ground up. Let's look at that hands-off path first. The easiest way to think about this is rent versus sell. Licensing is like renting out your patent. You let someone else use it and they pay you royalties. It's an agreement, but you can get it back. It's revocable. Assignation, on the other hand, is an outright sale. You're permanently transferring your patent rights to someone else. It's a done deal, irrevocable. Now for the hands-on approach. The big question is, are you starting this thing from inside an existing organization or are you heading out on your own? A spin-off is a new venture that's still connected to its parent organization, like a university or a big company. But a spin-out, that's when you leave, you cut the cord, and you launch a completely independent company. You take on all the risk, but also all the potential reward. Of course, if you choose that hands-on path, it means you've got to navigate some serious risks. Big rewards usually come with big challenges, and it is absolutely crucial to understand what you're up against. When you launch something new, you're staring down 3 huge uncertainties. First, there's technological uncertainty. Sure, your prototype works in the lab, but can you actually manufacture 1 million of them efficiently? Second, strategic uncertainty. There's no proven marketing playbook for something that's never existed before. And finally, you've got the first-time buyers problem. How on earth do you convince people to change their habits and take a chance on your product? And beyond those big unknowns, entrepreneurs run into some very real-world barriers. These are the walls that can stop a new venture dead in its tracks. Things like the crazy high cost of tech, getting access to suppliers and stores, not having the right experience, and of course, the big one, needing a massive amount of cash to get started. So let's say you do it. You navigate all those risks, you break through the barriers. That's amazing. But surviving the launch is just one part of the story. Real success means you gotta take the long view, because every single technology has a predictable life cycle. And here's the key insight, the secret weapon, really. A technology's evolution isn't random. It doesn't matter if we're talking about computing speed or fuel efficiency or whatever, its progress almost always follows a recognizable pattern. And understanding that pattern, well, that gives you a huge strategic advantage. That pattern is called the S-curve. A technology starts out slow, in what we call the embryonic stage. Then it hits an inflection point and enters this period of super rapid growth and improvement. But eventually, it starts to level off and reaches maturity as it gets closer and closer to its physical limits. Progress slows way down. And what's so cool is that this technological S-curve maps almost perfectly to the life cycle in the market. In phase 1 development, you're just burning cash. There's no revenue. Phase 2, launch, is all about getting those first few brave customers. Phase 3, growth, is when you really start to take over the market. Then you hit phase 4, maturity, where sales are at their peak. But then inevitably something new comes along in phase 5, and substitution begins, leading eventually to phase 6, obsolescence.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, to the final, most important question. This cycle never, ever stops. Your brilliant, world-changing technology will, one day, become obsolete. So the real challenge, and the real opportunity, is always this. What are you going to create next?